It's really, really great to have you here. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's really, really great to be having these conversations, to be chatting with you. Let me just make sure that this is all good to go. Can I make sure that you guys can hear me? We're going to be talking today about how to manage when everything is on fire. And I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. You guys are getting the chat. It's coming through. I can see a couple of you guys on here. Welcome, welcome. And yeah, please tell me where you're from and also why it feels like everything is on fire, because that is what we are going to be resolving today during this session. This is one of my most popular conversations. It's the number one thing that I talk about in so many different times, in so many different places. I've been thinking all day about how am I going to give this information to you in a new, exciting way? How am I going to help you understand how to prioritize even when it feels like everything is crazy and there's no way you're going to reach your goal? That is not true. There is a way to do it. But I'm going to need information from you. What makes it feel sometimes like everything is on fire and there's no way out? So go ahead and type that into the chat. Awesome, awesome. Welcome everybody. Okay, so let's just jump into it. I want to make sure that we're able to just get started and talk about this right now. When you are somebody who struggles with ADHD, it feels often like you're having a weird week. A lot of times it can feel like it's just been a weird week. It's just been a strange week. It just feels like things don't make a lot of sense right now. And when they're sorted, that's going to be great. People are going to come along, and it's going to be a more normal week. And then I'm going to get things done. So if that's you, if you've ever said that, please go ahead and just give me a little emoji in the chat. And I can see the wonderful chat here on Instagram. I can see the chat here on YouTube. So give me an emoji in the chat if that is you and you've told yourself, no, it's just a bit of a weird week, and once that's resolved, it's going to be normal, and that's when I'm going to get back to doing everything. Because I know with ADHD this is really common, but also what I want to tell you, I can see a lot of 100% here. I also want to tell you guys that it's actually research behind the idea that if you have ADHD, it's always gonna feel like a weird week, and that's really not abnormal. One of the reasons for this is we have dopamine deficits, so we can sometimes act really impulsively. There's lots of different, we might say yes to new opportunities, we might overload ourselves, we might find ourselves doing things that, don't need to be done right now, or sometimes we'll underestimate how long things are gonna take and find ourselves going to the very, very last, minute. So, if that's you, go ahead and type that into the chat, because I know that a ton of people do that where you're like, right, so I said I could do that. And I also got a puppy. I've had two clients this week. One got a puppy, one impulsively bought a car. So, yeah, it's always, always a weird week. It's always on fire. There's always something, especially when you run a business with ADHD. That is 100% the case. So, what do we do in spite of that? I'm going to work through this with you today. The first thing we want to do is we want to just go ahead and we want to have a list of all the tasks that we have to do, work and home and anything else. We want to combine them. With ADHD, we're not really great with categories. We can tend to be in a position where we're saying, oh, well, I really need to do this, and it's a work task, and this is a home task. We'll make these different lists, and then we'll completely lose all of the lists. Like, you guys have probably lost more lists than you know that you have, and I've done the same. So we want to have one space that we can always, always come back to. So it might be a document, it might be a journal, whatever that space is for you. Type into the chat, what do you think that space is for you? And what we want to do here is we want to go ahead and we actually want to just write down everything that's in our head. Don't worry about your old task list. Don't worry about your emails. Focus on just what's in your head. Go ahead and write all of that stuff down first. I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. And while we're doing that, what I want to tell you about is why we struggle with working memory tasks. We struggle with understanding how our brain works. And so we actually need that brain space to be able to benefit from one of the benefits of having ADHD, which is that we're creative thinkers, we're out of the box thinkers. We can come up with a unique way of working, and people will have no idea that this is even how we think, and that's really, really cool. But if we have a ton of things that are in our brain, oh, I need to do this, I need to remember this, and we're holding it all in our brain, it can be much harder for us to actually engage that part of our brain because we're remembering everything. So we want to write it down. That's the first step. The second step, and I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see me sharing my screen. For those of you who are on who are somewhere else, that is all good. Basically, what we're going to do here is, you can see the next thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and actually figure out what is truly, truly urgent for today. And if you've heard me talk about this before, you're going to know what's coming. But if you haven't, strap in. This is going to change your life. So, how do we know what is truly urgent? Everyone says to me, "Oh, this is urgent," and actually, I've got 200 urgent tasks to do today. Every one of them's on fire. You don't understand, Sky. I'm going to tell you right now. I have worked with hundreds of people who have ADHD on this topic at this point. I have never had anyone, once they go through my process that I'm going to teach you right now, have more than 5 things that are truly urgent for them to do that day. So, I want you to have a look at that list, and I want you to go through and say, okay, what do I have to do today? Or there is going to be a significant external negative consequence. What do I have to do today? Or something significantly negative is going to be happening tomorrow. Maybe you haven't paid a bill. Maybe you haven't, gone ahead and gotten that information that you need for the presentation that is happening tomorrow. That is a significant external negative consequence. I'll feel bad is not a significant external negative consequence, I'm sorry to say. That doesn't mean we won't do it, but we just need to know what is truly urgent. That is truly urgent. So, how do we remember this? Because even now you're like, okay, that's cool, but like, what can I think about that's going to help me immediately understand what is truly urgent? The thing I want you guys to imagine here is, I want you to imagine that your day went sideways. This is not a great thing, but you're in a waiting room for some reason. Maybe for somebody else, maybe for you, you're in a waiting room. You know this is your day. You're just locked in. You're going to have to wait until you can be seen, or you can see someone else, and you know this is what you have to do. What is the thing that you're still going to be doing on your phone? Or at least you're going to be messaging someone else, and you're going to be saying, hey, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it tomorrow because I'm not going to be prepared for that thing. That is truly urgent. Everything else is not truly urgent. So I want to type into the chat, wherever you are, type into the chat. What are you taking away from this? What are you learning? What are you thinking about this idea of truly urgent? I'm very, very curious to know, because for a lot of people, they're like, oh, that's what's truly urgent. And it can be a little bit of a weight off, because you understand that everything else doesn't have to be done. It might be nice to be done, totally, but it doesn't have to be done. And then this leaves us free to do the things that are really, really important. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret here that hopefully you already know, which is that your purpose in life is not to finish your task list. It's not to get to the end of your task list and tick it off and be done. Especially when we have ADHD, we're very, very divergent thinkers, which means that we're going to take an idea and we're going to make it 5 ideas. Who's done that before? Give me a like if you've done that before. I know I have. So we have a very long task list. Our job in life is not to tick off everything. It is to do the things that are truly urgent, and then create space for the things that are truly important. And if you're a business owner or an ADHD boss working on projects, which is the people that I help, what is that 20% item that's going to get you 80% return towards your goals? And if you were here on Monday, you will have heard me talk about this. So we're building this week. We're doing this every day. We're going live until September 1st, and we're building on it. So we talked a little bit about what to do, how to figure out what your 80/20 is. This is where the rubber hits the road. You actually want to have that time blocked out to say, okay, well, this is urgent. This is important. This is going to help me reach my goal. This is the podcast outreach that I need to make, or the clients that I need to contact, or the the offer that I need to sell, whatever it is. For me, right now, it's talking to you guys, creating content, sharing information with you guys, giving all the strategies that I can to you guys. That is my 80/20. And that is something that you want to go ahead and you want to share. So you want to go ahead and block out that time in your day. So there's two things. What is truly urgent, because if it doesn't get done, you know that something negative is going to happen tomorrow. And what is truly important, because you know it's part of your 80/20 to help you reach your goal. Those are the things you want to be focusing on every day. And if you want more help with implementing this, you guys know that I am starting my Focus Balance Growth Program. It is happening September 1st, so you guys can just DM me Grow if you want all the information, and I'll give it to you. No worries at all. But what I want to know from you now is, okay, cool, but there's a ton of questions I bet you have, right? You're thinking, that's great, but what about everything else on the list? When am I going to clean out the drawers in my closet that have been bugging me for weeks? What about if I feel bad? What about if it's urgent to somebody else, but it's not urgent to me? Go ahead and type into the chat. What are your questions about how you're actually going to do this? Because I know, and you know, that this is something that a lot of us struggle with. I'm just going to go through and say, yeah, doing more thinking rather than taking action. Life feels like a roller coaster and I can't focus on the positives. Definitely life can feel like a roller coaster. And sometimes one of those 80/20 things we have to do is take action. I will say, I am not the kind of person who's going to just say, it's totally fine for you to just think about it all the time and never actually reach your goals. I believe that you can get results, that you can actually grow your business and do it in a focused and balanced way with systems and strategies. So for me, helping you figure out how to find time to do your 80/20 tasks and actually do them is always going to be the priority. So that is what I want to focus on with you today. Awesome. So let's go through some of the most common questions. One of the first ones is, what about everything else? And generally speaking, I go a little bit more in depth here. You guys can just DM me Focus if you want the full formula and all that kind of stuff. I give it away for free, and I'm happy to share it with you. But we want to think, okay, what is truly urgent today? Then we want to think, what is truly urgent in the next 7 days, using the same system, just pushing it out to 7 days. And then from there, we'll have a list of things that are not really urgent and they're not really important. And those are just your general tasks. And those are things you want to have a look at about once a week. And you want to designate some time to look at them and say, okay, these aren't particularly urgent, these aren't particularly important, but maybe I want to go ahead and do one of them, or maybe they become urgent. Sometimes we do what's called setting fire to the task, where you'll actually create accountability around something that you want to become urgent. That way you're going to do it, but you don't want to set fire to too many tasks or else everything burns down. So keep that in mind. You want to go ahead and do that. But mostly what I want to see you do is actually focusing on the most important 80/20 tasks. Those are the ones you block out in your calendar. Those are the ones you use the step into focus routine to get into. Those are the ones that you want to focus on the most. So it's okay if you have a list of things that are not really urgent, not really important, and you're not getting them done. That's okay. I know a lot of very successful people who've built very large businesses who have a very long list of things they're not doing because they're focusing on the things that are truly driving them forward. So if that's you, you're not alone, and that's totally fine. But you do want to go ahead and you want to think about, selecting the most important tasks, booking a time in your calendar to do them and actually doing them. One of the things that people often don't do is they'll say, okay, well, I know this is important, so I'll just get it done in between everything else. Isn't that crazy that we do that? We'll block out every single meeting that anyone has ever organized us to do, and we will 100% not block out time for the truly important tasks that are going to help us grow our business. That's crazy, right? So we want to go ahead and actually block out that time, make that time sacred, and then tomorrow we'll talk about how to actually do those things, or maybe the day after. I think tomorrow we're going to talk about pricing. So that is everything from me on how to do this. Hopefully that's given you a sense of what to do. So, just to give you a recap, on Monday, we talked about setting your course. On Tuesday, we talked about getting your time back with emails. Today, we talked about how to prioritize when everything is on fire and how to make sure that you have what you need to do that. And tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to make sure your business is well resourced and you get paid enough to actually make the money that you need to make in your business. Going through the pieces. So, whether you're somebody who's just starting something or whether you're somebody who's been doing it for a while, we're going to be talking a little bit about that as well. So, really great to have you guys on. Thank you so much for coming along and being here today with me on email, on Instagram. You can find me if you want to learn more about my program. Just DM me grow at unconventionalorganization.com on Instagram. I'm going to give you the full, playbook, take you through what we're doing. It ends, the current thing that we're doing ends September 1st. So please make sure that you do so by then. And if you're a good fit, then I will see you there. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming along today. Hopefully, you are feeling a little bit more focused, and I will see you same time tomorrow. Okay. Bye.